8 months ago, I quit my 6-figure job as a corporate banker in Toronto to move to the Philippines and start a business in poultry farming. Well, my first objective was starting the construction of a new 25,000 capacity farm. I also had the great idea of starting to operate an old abandoned farm that hasn't been running in over a year, so we could start learning the business as quick as possible. This video takes us back to that very first cycle at that farm, from when the chicks were delivered, the week-by-week management, all the way up to when they were harvested, and all of the mistakes made in between. A lot went on here this cycle, so we'll go back through it, take a look at it in its totality, and I'll share some of my reflections and thoughts that I had as we went on through the cycle. Let's get to it. Calm before the storm here. Another issue. So the battery of this truck has just died. More money and more time to get fixed. We have more bad news, actually. Today's the day. New chicks are coming. Fresh pair of Crocs. Exciting night ahead. The first load of chicks at this farm in over a year. We'll see if they're maganda sisiu. The feeds are here. We're unloading 100 bags of feed. We're taking a break because it's raining out. It's been raining for the past 4 days here, so it could take a while to get it all unloaded. And then we need to carry them farther down to the storage room, which will be a grind. So the thing's here, and then you gotta walk all the way down to there, which is a good hike with 50 kgs on your head. Hopefully it's done by the evening when the chicks arrive and we'll be ready to roll. Lots to do, short on time, but confident it'll get done. The maintenance people just arrived. They're gonna take a closer look at the motor of the fan that's broken down there, as well as a capacitor for the feed line. Chick delivery at 5 p.m. It's now 2:07 p.m., so it's cutting it tight. We don't even have the feed unloaded yet, and 2 issues here that we don't need to get fixed tonight, but it would be really good to get done. It's either a capacitor or the motor itself, which is the issue. So we'll see soon. The verdict, we have more bad news actually. Motor on the fan at the far end there, broken. We have a bearing issue on that fan. Both of those things won't get fixed today. It's not needed today. You don't need a huge amount of ventilation during the brooding stage. It's supposed to be warmer in here, but we'll need to get that fixed quickly. As the chicks grow, you need to utilize more fans and use them more often. We're going down to check the feeding line now. As you can see, a lot of the equipment here is deteriorating. When you let a building like this sit for over a year, things start to decay, problems start to compound, and then when you come back to it, you have 10 things that you need to fix. When you fix it one by one, it's not as huge of an upfront issue and an upfront cost. Over time, as it starts operating, money starts coming in, you can start repairing some of the smaller issues that aren't a huge concern right now, but the feeder lines, the fans, really important. Installing a new capacitor in the feeding line. We'll see if it works here in a second. Another issue. I really hope we can get this solved tonight. Looks like it's a motor issue here too, so this is going to require more money and more time to get fixed. Still raining. A lot. We've only unloaded 3 sacks of feed, so there's 97 sacks to go. We've just been waiting here for this rain to start so the feed doesn't get soaked. Spreading out the feed in these manual trays and all along the chick paper in anticipation for the chicks to arrive here in a couple hours. It's so heavy. Ooh. Try to give them really easy access to food when they get here. The smell's kind of nice actually. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it kind of smells good. Like a home cooked meal for maganda sisiu. We are ready. A few things I wish were fixed, but not a deal breaker. So chicks will arrive, we'll take good care of them for sure. We ran a run through the feeding line. The main feeding bin isn't working, sucking the feed in, but you can manually put it in to that smaller pot there. Each feeding line has one of those, so you can manually dump it in. As you can see, our brooding area is only a small portion of the inside of the farm. So you want to shut off all the feeding pans except for the ones that are in the brooding area. You manually slide over this tab here, and it prevents feed from heading into these pans. Stuff like this can impact your FCR if you're not careful. Oh, there we are. So the feeding line was actually twisted and misaligned with the hole on the feeder, so it was leaking out of the side. So even though we had it shut off, it was still spilling out. So you can see we've just realigned the feeding line, so the holes in the feeding line should now sit flush with the holes in the pans. A little mishap here, but you guys are getting a lot here. Like a wise man once said, everything that can go wrong will, and that's what you're seeing here tonight. Still been raining on and off. It's been a few hours, but we're finally on the last bag of feed here. Feeds are all loaded. Everybody's gone pretty much, except for the 2 farm managers and myself. So it's a bit of the calm before the storm here. We got a about an hour till the chicks arrive, and then we'll be buzzing, and hopefully all goes well. We shall see. So the battery of this truck has just died. One of the million things that has gone wrong today, but we're gonna take the battery from the generator and get this out of the way so the chicks can be unloaded. The load of chicks has just arrived. We're gonna give the farm workers a bit of rest, and then we're gonna start unloading them into the farm, into the breeding area. Brooding lamps are all on. There's a lot of heat coming out of there. Day-old chicks can't regulate their body temperature, so you need to heat up the brooding area before they come. It's gonna be hot in here. We're unloading all the chicks now, and we're lining up the crates inside, then we'll unload them. So come in, take a look at what that looks like. Really hot in here. So we unload them in stacks of 3, and then there's 5 sections of the brooding area, and we'll put roughly an equal amount of chicks in each section. Day-old chicks here, looking blue from the vaccine given at the hatchery, but they're cute. Hopefully a healthy chick that will be harvested in around 30 days. We are unloading the chicks, about 37 crates per section here, and we'll start doing that now while they're still unloading. Black one. It is hot. A lot of people get angry at how we dump them out, but this is the way to dump out a mass volume of chicks. They're okay when they drop. They're fine, as you can see. They're moving, they're healthy. It doesn't hurt the chicks to dump them out like this. If you do it one by one, we'd be here till the morning. It's moving pretty quick. We have a good team here. Things are flying. They're not heavy, but after you lift so many of them, the back gets burning. And when you're done with them, you stack the crates and take them back to the truck. It's a workout and a half. I leave it here for the delivery guys to sort out. Let's head in here. So after the chicks get loaded in, we put this tarp down, and that traps the heat in, and it's essentially a little incubation area. You have the brooding heaters on, you trap the heat in with the tarps, and it's nice and warm for them. You need to check that the water line is at the right height where they can reach at it, and you need to see if the nipple on it is soft enough for day-old chicks to peck at it. You increase the water pressure over time as they get stronger and bigger, but when they arrive, it should be really soft and really easy for them to nip at and get water. They're like little pets almost. And soon they'll be at your local superstore. Time for some paperwork. We're going to record the DOA, the rejected tricks, and then we'll see how many have entered the brooding phase, and then we'll get sign off by the drivers from the integrator, and then hopefully we're ready for a successful harvest. So all things considered, the very first load at this farm actually went reasonably well. There was no major issues that arose, some broken equipment as we saw, but nothing with the actual unloading process that was a big issue. And we started the cycle, we had 18 dead on arrival, 11 rejected. So we started the cycle with 14,971 chicks heading into week 1. Let's see how that goes. Let's go take a look inside, see what the chicks look like on day 1 here. It's hot. It's kind of funny, look at them all shuffling around. Each one of these little things represents some dollar bills. You can see that is the brooding lamp that got replaced. That one there. Old, rusty, fresh, new. I always get questions, where do you get this kind of equipment? Where do you get that? And something like a brooding lamp, that is straight from Shopee, delivered to my house. And sometimes the best deal is just what's convenient. So we'll quickly pause here. This is true. Sometimes the best deals are what's convenient, but it really depends on the equipment. In this case, heaters. Nova! Excuse my pups. In this case, heaters, things that can have detrimental implications if they break, are generally more worthwhile to spend more money on. Something like this shitty Shopee heater that we got, no real safety mechanisms, stuff like this can really burn your farm down if it goes wrong. So it probably would have been more prudent to look at better equipment at this time rather than what was just the quickest to arrive. So that was my own ignorance at play. getting what was convenient, what could get shipped to my door quickly, rather than really doing due diligence on what the best piece of equipment would be. So it really depends on the equipment, but something like heaters, you want to make sure good safety mechanisms are there, the flame is steady, how people light it is safe. These ones are a little bit sketchy, as you see Kuya Rodwell under there burning his eyebrows off. So yeah, quick little correction there. So this was really just a temporary fix so we could get the brooding cycle started, not equipment we're looking to have in there for the long term in this farm. When they're really small, they can slip through the smallest spaces in the fence that you have. So it's important to walk by frequently so you can catch ones that have snuck out and put them back in. So they're probably about 35-ish grams right now. And we'll harvest them when they're at around 1.5 kg. See, there's a black one in there. Judge me not by the color of my skin, but by the tastiness of my crispy chicken burger. Plenty of feed left in here. We usually wait till they eat almost everything in each feeder here. Otherwise, if you keep putting on fresh feed, the same feed will sit at the bottom and spoil, and that's the type of stuff that'll impact your FCR and your bottom line. So we check the feeding lines. And the softness of it, how easy it is to nip at, is dependent on the water pressure, which gets adjusted over here. You adjust it at the bottom here, so there's a bulb. So the higher it is, the higher the water pressure is. At this stage, you want it basically as soft as you can have it, so it's easy to peck at. As they grow and get stronger, you'll raise up the water line as they get taller, and then increase the water pressure. One last thing before we sign off here on day one. Immediate indicator that there's something wrong with the chicks is if they're not eating and not drinking. And you can check that right at the front. He's got a little pocket there, and if it's full, then he's been eating. And he's got a nice firm little pocket. You can almost see if you look at him head on, probably looks like a little lopsided with a little nugget on him right there. You see that? No issues so far. Chicks seem healthy. We'll see how the week progresses here. Like and subscribe. It is day 2 here. We just fed them, and then just for fun, we're gonna weigh a few. Chicks like these are hard to come by. They don't spend your money, they make you money. Come on. We have a scale in hand. Let's go see how big these birds are. Not really necessary to be weighing them on day 2, but it's just my own curiosity here. Let's try to find some chubby ones. This guy looks big. Oh, he feels a little heavier. Oh, that's the kind of birds we grow. More than double their size in 2 days. Soon he'll be walking out of here going to work at his corporate job. They're still on the chip paper. This will get removed tomorrow, and then they'll just be put on the rice hull. And that is it here for day 2. We'll catch you tomorrow. Day 6 here. We're headed to get some fly glue, and we'll buy some rope essentially, dip it in the fly glue and just hang it around the farm, and that'll catch any flies that are there. Pretty simple fly control method, but it's quite effective. Fly control is a very important and often underappreciated part of broiler farming, especially in tropical conditions. This is one of the few things that can actually get your farm shut down by the local municipality if the community complains and you're not managing this issue well. We use rice hull here, which helps dry the litter, and then we add in some fly glue, which has generally worked quite well. Other farms that use slats, they may use some sort of chemical fly control program that can be pretty expensive and often less and less effective as time goes on because the flies can become resistant to these chemicals. So just an important thing to note that this is one of the few issues that can shut your farm down. So if you try to ignore it, you may face severe consequences. Hello, meron po kayo yung plastic straw?
Straw po, na panali po. 65 po.
65?
Yes.
1 kg. Salamat.
Salamat po.
Thank you. We've arrived here at the farm for plastic straw, and here we have our fly glue. There aren't many flies here because of the rice hull, but this is just a little added layer of protection. Let's head inside. We'll see some repairs that have happened so far. Last time we were here, the contractors took this fan out to fix a bearing on it. So you can see that's been put back in and is functioning well. All the shutters are also in place, which isn't the same for all these fans, so that's a good one there. And the motor was broken on this one over here, but that motor has since been fixed. So that's 2 items now checked off the list of things that need to be repaired here. So let's go check out the automatic feeding container. The nice thing about a business like this, broiler poultry farming, is that it really isn't rocket science. You need to be attentive to the business, but it's quite repetitive. You do the same cycle every 30 to 45 days. Obviously things can break and things can go wrong, but generally speaking, the cash flow is predictable. The responsibilities each month are quite predictable. With those 2 things in mind, it becomes a very scalable operation. The more buildings you have doesn't really change what you do. You just add employees that do the same job on other buildings. This right here, feed storage. This bottom part was removed because it was full of grime and dirt and rust, and that was impacting the performance of the automatic feeder. So I think the motor's been repaired, and then this part came back cleaned and refreshed. It's not needed right now. The area is pretty small. They've just been manually putting the feed in. Once the area is fully expanded, they'll just fill this up with bags of feed, and then it'll suck through the automatic feeding lines. That is generally it for major repairs. The fans were a big concern. Like, if this feeder doesn't work, you can still manually fill up the feeders, and that can be done, but there's no way to really manually run fans. So to get that done within the first week, a little bit of stress off the shoulders. The farm is pretty much in the state we'd want it to be, which seemed like a bit of a stretch when we first got here. There was so much broken: the generator, the fans, the feeding tray, submersible pumps. But I think we're up and running at a good place now. It's day 7. We're headed to do an interview with my man Calvin, and then we'll see the weigh-in tonight. I've never done a collab or interview or anything like that, so we'll see how it goes. Let's get to it.
What's your name and where you from? When you told them, guys, I'm resigning and I'm moving to the Philippines to start a business.
They said, what the F are you doing? I feel like 40 years ago by like that, and look back and I'll think, what did I do? What risks did I take?
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Let's go weigh these birds. Week 1, they arrived here, about 35 grams. And I think now they should be close to maybe 150. So there's like 5 sections of chickens here. We'll take a sample from each. We'll fill this basket with about 10 chickens and then weigh it on the scale. 10 birds, 200 grams. Maganda sisiu, maganda manok. 3, 4, 9, 10. Drop them down on the scale. Dump them out. And we'll do this after every week. I just completely glossed over what the average live weight was, but for week 1, it was 195 grams. The first day of week 2, we were on the way to the farm to meet the doctor who's coming from the integrator. The doctor will take a look around the farm, look at the chickens, and make sure everything is good and up to their standard. And this is their first check-in of this cycle, and it's the first update we're giving them, so we'll see how it goes. So for those who are unfamiliar with contract growing, you actually get a veterinarian from the integrator that will visit the farm on generally like a weekly basis. So you get some additional support from people that are a part of the integrator. They come, look at the farm, look at the chicks, and can make suggestions on how to manage it differently if things are going wrong. So you're not out there on your own in no man's land trying to figure everything out. You have people close within the network and the people that you're working with that can help you out throughout the course of the cycle. So especially this being the first cycle, it was good to lean on people like that and help guide you throughout the cycle. We're here at the farm. The doctor just left. A few changes we will make. We're going to increase the ventilation. Since this building's pretty long, the cooling pads are on that end, but as the air travels through the farm, it gets pretty warm on that side. As a result, they're drinking too much water and not eating enough, so they're growing a little slower than the chickens on the far end. In addition to that, we will remove these manual feeding trays and just have all the feed run through the automatic feeders. The chickens are growing well and our mortality is on track, which is a good sign. We're gonna pick up some of the undersized ones and put them in the nursery over there where they have better access to food, water, and hopefully grow a little bit quicker. Gonna add some feeds in the basket so they can eat while I go around and collect some more. He's on the loose. He knows I'm coming for him. Hold up, buddy. You can see for 1 week he's really quite small. To give a comparison here, look at the size difference in these 2 birds. Are you all right? Come on now. There's some feed leaking into the tray that's not inside the area where the chicks are. So since no chicks can get at it, I'm just gonna dump out this tray and then we'll put it in the nursery so it'll get eaten. Get this one too. You wanna make sure you use every bit of feed you have, otherwise it can start to add up and then you eat into your FCR, and you don't want that happening here. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here. The sun's out for the first time in a while. It's payday today, so I got some cash for the kuyas. If you think we take weekends here, we don't. So let's get to it. We're inside the farm now. See, we have 3 fans on the go now, so you really feel the breeze and it's a lot cooler in here. And all of our fans are working, which is also a bonus at this stage. We have some light bulbs that are out that we need to get fixed as well. So I'm just counting how many we need to buy from the hardware store. 1, 2, 3, 5 new light bulbs. Probably get 6 or 7 to have some spares on hand. But today we wanted to remove the manual feeding trays and rake the rice hull. Every so often you need to rake the rice hull and resurface it essentially, because the top gets wet, especially with the brooding lamps. It gets hot, so they can actually like burn their feet. You can see it's like a little more of a rough, clumpy surface than it was before. The manual feeding trays aren't anywhere in the center of the chick area here, so we still have some manual feeders along the perimeter, but generally at this stage you want them to be relying on the automatic feeders. Hey bud, you're only 10 days old, eh? Oftentimes when they look injured or they're not growing, they're kind of stunted, they'll have really dry feet. Sorry bud, we'll put you back here. Come over here and let's get down and dirty with it. If you see this, this is a fresh shit right here. A little bit of white in there, good consistency. It's not too watery or too wet, and that's what it looks like when these chicks here are eating and drinking well and are healthy. We're gonna run the feeding lines here shortly. And one behavior you wanna see at this stage especially is that when you run the feeding lines, you want to see the chicks up and heading towards it. They smell the feed, they hear the lines, and they've been essentially conditioned to go to them. If that's not happening at all, then there could be an issue with the bird, and that's just a behavioral observation you need to make throughout the process. Feed lines on, so we'll just take a look at what that looks like. It's probably going to be pretty loud. So we usually do a walkthrough while the feed line's running to get the chicks up and headed towards the feeding pans. This is what it looks like before we do the walkthrough, and this is what it looks like after. The Kuya's got the plastic straw dipped in the fly glue, spanned out along the side of the farm. So there's not that many flies due to the rice hull, but this is just, you know, an extra precaution. And there's other farms here, and if they don't have a good, you know, fly management program, that can head over to this farm as well. So there's some sort of collateral damage depending on how well your neighbors manage their farm. Okay, so we touched on earlier the importance of managing flies at your farm, but it is also important to acknowledge how close you are to other farms. It's often a big blame game here. If you think you're managing your farm well, you don't think you're generating any flies, and then you're right next door to another farm, and then flies, like, they don't stay within property borders, and everybody's gonna be pointing the finger at everybody else. So you wanna make sure your process is at least documented, so when people come to you and say, look, I see a bunch of flies here, you know you've been following whatever procedure you have in place, and you can at least protect yourself in some way. But generally, if there's several farms in an area, nobody's taking accountability for a fly issue, and fingers are going to be pointed left and right. Things are running well here on day 10. Fingers crossed it stays that way. We're dealing with live animals. There's a million things that could go wrong on every single day. So you really need to be attentive to the birds and to the farm, to your employees, and make sure that things are running smoothly at all times. Day 11, going to get some light bulbs for the farm. Looking for 7 light bulbs, I think. Hopefully that'll brighten up some additional lumens for the chickens. These are about 350 pesos a pop. Again, a lot of these things are one-time purchases rather than monthly expenses. Since this farm's been sitting there decaying over time, there's just so many items that you don't realize need to get fixed until you're actually there and it starts running and you realize every day there's like another thing you need to get repaired. And this is one of them. Foot bath, little sanitization before we head in. The birds. They're looking big. So the area's been expanded even more. You can see the ground. This is fresh rice hull here. Slowly but surely, it'll take up the whole farm as they get bigger. Maganda. Kuya's getting the light sockets sorted out, so we'll leave the rest of the bulbs with him. You want to have a Kuya on hand that knows how to fix things. It doesn't need to look pretty, it just needs to be working. And Kuya Rodwell knows how to get that done. We have 2 black ones in the herd. This is one of them. Day 11, eh bud? Look at the camera. See? We have them trained too. It's a big bird here. Look at his feet. He's got big feet on him. Okay, grow up well. Got a few more weeks left. And as you see, it's important to build a good rapport with the Minook. I never waste an opportunity to get to know them on a personal level and encourage their growth. Very, very important. We're at the last day of the 2nd week of this harvest. We're headed to the mall. We're gonna pay our utility bill, which is about 15,000 pesos, and then we're gonna head to the farm and do the second week weigh-in and see how big these birds are. Mortality slightly higher than we'd like at this stage, but I spoke to other people we know and nobody seems overly concerned. I think it's feeling a little bit of pressure of this being the first load in the farm that I want it to go really well, and we'll see how it pans out. We're at SM. People from the integrator are here actually, so we're gonna sit down and have dinner, then we'll go pay for our utility bill. We're gonna ask them a few questions about the mortality because the doctor is here actually, so see if we can get some answers, if there's anything to worry about, and if not, then we're good to go. We're lining up, we just ate with the integrator. We're gonna pay our electricity bill for the farm. Awesome, thank you so much. Paid our bills, we've had lunch. We will see you next at the farm. It's so weird paying bills with cash here. And I just was made aware that to pick up our payment from the integrator, we actually need to drive to BGC and pick up a check. No electronic transfer, check in hand, and we have to drive 4 hours to go get it. But we get it done anyways, onwards and upwards, baby. We're here at the farm for the weigh-in. We just sprayed down the car with disinfectant, and then we'll dip our feet in disinfectant and wash our hands before we head inside. We'll give our hands a wash here too. Just like a surgeon heading into the OR, the farm boy heading in to tend to the chickens. So one virus will propagate to so many and you could lose your whole batch like that. So good biosecurity is very important, and it's not something you notice until things start going south. We'll weigh probably about 500 chickens and get an average. Uniformity is not great this round, and that could be for a multitude of factors. It's not a perfect cycle here, but we're still getting things done. So we shut some of the lights off so the chicks don't get too stressed. You want to keep them calm throughout the process, not stress them out too much. 4-8. So you want to weigh from different areas inside the farm. You don't want to weigh just one side. You want to get a sample from basically everywhere to get a well-rounded average live weight. We just all snatching these up quick. We got the best in the game here. Last one. There you are. Go crunch some numbers and get an average now. That was 330 birds weighed. We're doing a little check-in at the nursery to see how things are looking. You have both undersized chicks here and chicks with some issues, disabled chicks if you will. We'll put some back into the main population over time if they catch up in size and get stronger. Let's go tally up the weight and see what we're dealing with. We crunch our numbers. The average live weight is around 500 grams. That is it for week 2. Stay tuned to see what happens in week 3. We're back. We're here into the 3rd week. We are headed to the mall. We're going to pick up distilled water and some ant traps. And then we are headed to the farm to check out the situation. Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, we're headed to get the ant traps first because the distilled water is going to be heavy. Smaller items than the bigger ones. Salamat ate, thank you. Tarana?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Oh, did I pull it too early?
Thank you.
Thank you. I've always had a problem with pulling out too early. Still at SM, we're grabbing distilled water. When we administer the vaccine goes in the water and then it gets filtered in through the regular water line. But it's important to have a good balanced pH, so that's why we get distilled water. I'll just grab 6 liters, so I'm gonna get 2. Quick trip there, got our water, got our ant traps. We're gonna keep these receipts. This is write-off stuff here, okay? Put this in the spreadsheet, we'll hold on to the receipts, and when tax time comes, hopefully this diligence pays dividends. It's 26 degrees out, and a few days ago it was like 32 degrees. So the temperature's been fluctuating a lot, which has made it challenging to maintain a consistent environment inside the farm. What the outside temperature is heavily influences the inside temperature. This is largely the case with open-sided farms such as this one, where it's just a thin sheet of tarp protecting the inside from the outside. So any fluctuations you get during the nighttime temperatures, or it's really hot during the day, you're going to experience that inside the farm. So you need to be a lot more attentive and diligent on managing the tools you have, like the cooling pads and the heaters, to maintain a steady temperature. If your farm has really good insulation, you still need to manage the inside environment, but not as much so for open-sided farms like this. That's not to say farms like this can't perform well. They can, and they absolutely do, but it takes a certain type of management to achieve that. Like people say, each farm has its own, unique pieces of management that make it successful, depending on the equipment it has there, maybe how old the building is, etc. So you need to find the sauce for your specific building. What works for somebody else may not work for you. You got to kind of tinker with things to find out what results, or find out what management practices yield the best results. We're at the farm, gonna spray down the car. If you bring viruses into the farm, you don't know until it's propagating around your chickens and you lose a batch and you have a bad harvest. So, biosecurity, baby. Now wash our hands and sanitize our shoes in this foot bath here. Give you a quick look at what the control room looks like. We have a window here where you can look out into the farm from this little viewing area. And then this is where the control is. So you can get a rough idea of the temperature here, 27.1 degrees. It's been really cold the last few days. You can shut the lights off, hold the lights here. Then we also have a whiteboard there where we keep a running track of the daily feeds that we give and the mortality. Let's go take a look inside. Feel a big draft from the ventilation fans pulling air in. So here we have a day 16 chicken here. Feeling dense and pretty heavy. Look at him there. Good manuk. We're gonna go see the nursery that just got put in. Whoops, watch out, brother. But on the way there, you spot one like this. It's quite a bit smaller. Like, let's look at him next to this beefy guy. So you can see he's a little bit lighter, so we're going to bring him to the nursery as well. So we get the kuyas to do a walkthrough at least once a day with a basket and pick up all the smaller chickens to put them in the nursery. And you can tell sometimes when you pick these ones up, because they have like no reaction at all. Like if I go grab him, this guy, you see him, he's kind of running away. But sometimes you just go grab one and they don't move at all, and it's usually, they're pretty weak. Let's grab this one here too. Two small birds here. You see the water line. Be tough for him to get that high and get a drink. He probably could, but you don't want them having to like be up on their tippy toes every time they get up to it. We're here at the new nursery, so we'll put these guys in there. Since the uniformity hasn't been great, there's almost like 3 different sizes of chickens that you're seeing. You see the big, full busog ones, and like medium-sized ones, and then there's been really small ones. So really small ones we've been putting down there, but we've made a second nursery for ones that are kind of just slightly under the size we'd like them to be at. Admittedly, been a little bit lax on getting undersized birds into the nursery, and we're starting to see the consequence of that now. So we're trying to be on top of that, and that's a lesson learned in this first growth cycle here. So we're going through, we're raking the rice hull, flipping it over so the surface is dry for the chickens to walk on. If it's really wet, it doesn't absorb the moisture from their shit like you want it to, and they can actually end up getting like calluses and blisters on their feet. Helps keep flies down as well when it's more absorbent. Look at this guy. Move, bruh. You gotta talk to him sometimes. You can see here how clumpy and caked up the rice hull is, and this is an example of not great management of this litter. Admittedly, things got a little bit out of hand and we're raking it here, but it wasn't taken care of as well as it should have been, and this was definitely contributing to some of the uniformity issues we had. At this point in the cycle, we have 2 nurseries set up. We're seeing a wide range of sizes within the farm, which is not what you want to see. So we're getting a little bit worried about what our final result is going to look like at harvest time, and taking care of the litter was certainly a negative impact on our results this cycle. In December in Canada, we shovel our driveways. In December in the Philippines, I shovel shit. Like I said, these have been long days out here. Like the saying goes, you can't hate the work that you wish for. Being busy, having a lot of work is a privilege in a sense, so try not to complain about the work that you create for yourself, as it's required to get done to build anything successful. Hey dog. Okay, watch out homeboy. I'm gonna do a quick wash of the hands before we head in. The chickens are looking big. Every time we show up, they're looking bigger, they're looking more full. You really have to be hands-on in a business like this, especially if you don't have a background in agriculture or farming. Like, I didn't grow up in a business like this, so I don't have the knowledge and skills of somebody that was born into it. And the only way to really learn these things is to be hands-on and to do it yourself. Taking care of live animals comes from building up an intuition and your experience in seeing them and dealing with them. And you've made mistakes that you've learned from. But we've made a bunch of mistakes this first harvest, and the doctors taught us a lot when they've arrived. And those are things we'll change and implement in the next cycle. I spotted an undersized chicken. We're gonna see if we can snag him real quick before he runs away and put him in the nursery. Got him. He's quick, but he's not that quick. Here we go. We're here inside the expanded nursery. You can see there's a lot more chickens in here than there has been. Every day we try to add more to make sure smaller ones aren't getting left in the main population where they're struggling to grow. And you can see we have the manual feeding trays out and more manual water trays. So there's a lot easier access to the resources that the chickens need to grow. The manual drinkers are empty here, so we're gonna grab these and fill them up so we can keep these Minook in the nursery hydrated. Some happy Minook in there. Four water trays for some thirsty chickens. We'll potentially be back here at 4 in the morning to lay down fresh rice hull and then straight to feeding time, so we'll see you then. It is 3:36 a.m. We're headed to the farm. We're gonna be spreading some fresh rice hull across the inside of the farm and feeding the chickens. So let's go check out what that's like. We opted for the energy drink over the coffee. A little more refreshing. We've arrived at the farm. Let's go see if the Minook are up. Some nice stars out here. You don't get stars like this in the city, but you do out here in the province, so. Good morning. Nothing like wrangling chickens at 4 a.m., baby. There's nothing like it. Okay, so we're spreading out fresh rice hull. So you see, it's very compacted and wet, not ideal. Now we'll just lay some fresh stuff down for the last week or so. It's like putting fresh bed sheets on your bed. You crawl in, it feels better and nicer. And that's what it's like here for the chickens. And I know because I've asked them, and that's what they said. I want to touch every single part of the business, even something as simple as raking. You can hear what the task is, but you don't really know until you do it yourself and see what it actually entails. Last row here, burning out a little bit. That Monster Energy is starting to wear off here. We'll get it done. You can't be moping around here in the morning with your employees around. Oh, I'm too tired to do work. Not around here. We just get it done. I tell you, there's nothing like it. You wake up in the morning, you know, your alarm goes off, you're tired, you don't want to get up. When I'm coming out here to rake chicken shit, I'm up before my alarm. I set my alarm at 3, I'm up at 2:30. Set my alarm at 2:30, I'm up at 2. It's just how it is. 6 a.m. See, you guys are still sleeping. We're already finished the day's work. Come on now. It's about 7 a.m. We've filled up the main automatic feeding bin here, and we'll run this through in a few minutes here. I think that's it. We're headed home. Maybe a nap in store for me today. Farm manager's called. He wants to leave the farm. We don't have anybody to replace him, so we're gonna head there and see what it's all about. I actually woke up thinking I was just gonna be at my desk at home all day, but you gotta expect the unexpected here. Flockmen can be a notoriously high turnover position, so it's important that you have some sort of network where you can pull from to bring new flockmen in if you have people leaving unexpectedly, and generally they do just leave unexpectedly. It's not like they're putting in their 2 weeks at a corporate office. They may just get up and leave. So starting to form a good network of people that you can at least ask if they have anybody in mind that can come to your farm, or you have direct contacts with people that can come help out, is very important, because these are essentially low skill, high turnover positions that you need a revolving door of people that you can insert in. At the start of running a business, owning any business, you are the one that needs to solve the problems. Things don't come to you unless it's an issue. It's usually not the good stuff coming to you, it's the bad stuff, and it's your job to solve it as quick as you can, and that's what we're gonna try to do here today. You probably hear me say it, but everything that can go wrong will, and that's what we're seeing here again. And it's not a pessimistic statement, but it's just essentially something that I keep in mind to keep me aware of all the things that could potentially go wrong, and then you try to think of solutions before problems actually materialize. Biosecurity, baby. Got things sorted out with Kuya. He'll be here at least until the end of the cycle. And then we may need to hire somebody else to help with the cleanup, but that's okay. And it's week 3 weigh-in time, actually, which I completely forgot. So we're gonna go weigh the birds, see how heavy they are at week 3. 4 point, okay. They're doing samples of 5 here. Again, it's important to take samples at different areas within the inside of the farm. We're at week 3, average live weight around 1 kilogram. It is harvest day, ladies and gentlemen. The first harvest at this farm in over 1 year. We're gonna get some food for everybody who's gonna be involved today and get some prep done. So we get food and things like that for the harvesters because we hire them and we'll be harvesting for several hours. So it's important that we, give them a break and give them food, coffee, etc. 5 kg white rice. Awesome. Salamat, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Always secure the receipt so you can write this stuff off. Caught a little bit of a cold here, but we're battling. We'll still cover the day. We're going to get our chicken catering for the harvesters, and then we'll head to the farm and do an overview of how it looks right now. We've got a fresh pot here, chicken adobo. We'll make some rice at the farm. Just a little sneak peek here. Harvest manok, then we eat manok. Darna. We're here at the farm, unloading our food, and then we'll do a little walk around. I think we're gonna do a little weigh-in as well. As a bit of an insurance. We've never dealt with this processing plant, so we're going to do our own weigh-in just to make sure they're not too far off. Going to do a quick sample weight, get it on the record here, just in case we have any disputes, but we include the nursery. We're hoping for around 1.55 kgs. Some big birds. It's 1.8 kg there. So that sample was a little high. We're going to get another one, mix in some smaller birds. The range of samples you can have here can vary quite a bit. Okay, you can see you got grown manok. It's important we don't disturb the chickens at this time. There's no feed. It's pretty hot out too, so, and they're about to get pretty stressed out when the harvesters come. I mean, they can have stroke, so we're gonna let them rest, let them be, hoping for 1.55 grams. But it's our first run here, so we're not looking for perfection. We're looking to get out of here with decent metrics and learn as much as we can. So as you can see, there's 3 trucks here right now, getting another 2. So we're expecting to harvest 13,000 something chickens, so that'll be 5 trucks, and that should complete the harvest here. It's 4:22, getting started here a couple minutes early. The harvesters are getting to work. So on our first truck, this is the lock and seal that'll mark the truck, and we'll put it on the essentially the receipt from the integrator here. Tarna, the smell in here is intense. Let's see how they grab them here. So I help each other out. Essentially, the technique is you grab them by the leg like so, and with 10 per crate, they'll leave here with 5 chickens per hand here. So you can see the reason we stopped feeding them 5 hours before is because when they harvest them, they bring them in upside down and they can puke, which isn't good for them. So we try to have their stomachs empty before the harvest starts. In addition to having the harvesters here, we brought in, you can't see a mom echo on the other side of the truck who's doing essentially the counting, making sure 10 birds are going in each crate and that the right trucks are getting the right number of birds. We have Mom Echo here, the best in the business. He's going to break down what he's doing and what he's keeping track of. Ready? Come on.
This is the plant departure. You need to fill up the farm arrival. They start uploading. The end of loading is after the load over the truck. So the farm departure is if the truck is leave from the farm, you need to fetch this one. Then after that, sir, you need to put how many birds that you need to put. And the age of broiler is 30 days.
Yeah. Perfect.
And just leave it to dry.
You've heard it there. From the best in the business, from Mom Echo in real time. Ooh. Okay, you can see it's getting empty in here. If you take a look around, we've got a section cleared out. Here we are. This is our 30-day-old Manook here, ready to get harvested. This isn't a huge one. Our uniformity is not great. You can see they're all bunched down in this end, running away as we harvest them. So we're gonna get this side of the farm first, then we'll get the other side of the farm. We'll check in with the farm manager. Kuya Rodwell, kamusta Manook?
Okay lang, malaki.
We're almost done. This first truck. We're starting to fill up the crates sitting on the outside here, which is quick. We'll be done here probably less than 2 hours. Mom Echo, the best in the business, is checking with the driver. They'll do a final sign off and then they'll hand this paperwork to the driver to take to the processing plant, and we'll keep a copy for ourselves. Truck number 2 has begun. Let's go ahead inside, see if I can harvest a few. They're rolling 5 heads a hand, which is gonna be tough. I've never gotten that before. Let's go see if we can harvest some. Don't hate on my technique. I've never done this before. 1, 2, 5. Oh, that's heavy. Mommy got 10 heads here. This is how you put in your day's work. This is grind. Kuya. Oi. Let's go grab some more. I don't know if I could grab 10 myself. I need help with that second hand. It's so dark in here too. First hand should be easy here. There's no way I'm getting 5 in a hand by myself here. 1. Hey, all right, chill out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 more. 5 heads, baby. Hey. This is how you earn your stripes in the business. If you haven't harvested a few chickens, you can't be running a farm. You just gotta accept that your hands are gonna be full of shit. Truck number 2 done. About 6:20 right now. So we're at about 1 hour per truck, 3 more to go. So the drivers are rejecting these. They think they're underweight, which is unfortunate. There's kind of a lot there. But we're going to weigh some of these that got rejected to see if any are in the target range. So this integrator has a minimum weight threshold of 900 grams. So any chickens that don't meet that threshold will get rejected and left back at the farm. So how it typically works, you kind of eyeball it, and then the truck drivers will reject some that they think are for sure underweight, and then we'll just weigh them to double check. Because, you know, how can you visually tell if one's 950 grams or like 850? They look about the same size. So we do a little verification with the scale, and then any that meet that threshold, we send back to make sure that they get taken. Some of them look like they're fluffy and round, but they're actually quite skinny. It's important to go through thoroughly. We don't want to miss any chickens here that can be taken and processed. So thoroughly go through each nursery. Unfortunately, some don't make the pass, but we still try. We're almost done with the 3rd truck. We're just cleaning up this half of the farm. So there's really not many chickens left here. They're kind of spread out, so you need to run and grab them. See if we can hunt them down here. Get the fuck back here. Ugh. Third truck done. It's almost 8 o'clock. So we've been rolling for 3.5 hours. 2 more trucks to go. We're gonna take a break and eat first. We're taking a little quick food break. Gonna bring over these buns. You can see they're all eating. And then we'll resume here in a half hour or so. Truck number 4. Go into the nursery here and pick out ones that are of size. Separate the ones that we can take from the ones that are going to get left here. So you can see them kind of going through. One more to go. Truck number 4 is done. We're on the final truck, and that should clean out the rest of the building. We'll go see what it looks like. It's pretty empty right now. Hopefully we can get this next truck full and reach the recovery that we're looking for. We're yet to go through this nursery, which hoping majority of it will be okay and up to weight. There's some that left by the door that didn't make the cut, unfortunately, at like 800 grams, which is a little light. Quite different in here without any chickens. But this will finally get cleaned out. We'll get the nursery cleaned out, and then whatever gets rejected will be left in here, and that'll be it. It's been a long day. We're on 9:50. We've been going for over 5 hours now, which is a long evening here to get this done. But one more truck, and then we'll be good to go. We're on our last stretch now. You can hear the birds chirping as we get the final few hundred cleaned out, and then we'll be done the very first harvest ever at this farm in the last year. It's exciting stuff. So we're starting to weigh the remaining ones in the nursery to see which ones pass the threshold of 900 grams and which ones don't. Will stay here. It's pretty light. All right, you can see there's a few chicks left hanging. We've cleared out every chick that meets the threshold of 900 grams. So we have a few left behind here on this 30-day cycle. You see the final crates get loaded up. We're loading up the rest of the truck. We didn't fill up every crate, so they're reloading some of the empty crates, which is unfortunate. So we'll probably sit somewhere around 90 harvest recovery, 90 and a half, so a little lower than we'd like as well, but what can you do? Total harvest recovery, 90%, not great, but not horrible. But the biggest factor here was our uniformity. So we harvested 13,487 chickens. But we had 13,923 chickens in the farm available to be harvested. So over 400 chickens got left behind because they didn't meet the minimum weight threshold. And that is what killed us this cycle. It wasn't even really high mortality. It was just the terrible uniformity and having a bunch of chickens that get left behind at the farm that really hurt the HR. And then in tune our overall performance, and then that hurts how much we make. So this cycle actually had, I think, our best harvested average live weight. But as a whole, it would have been way worse because we had this huge quantity of chickens left at the farm well below 900 grams. So although our harvested average live weight looked pretty good, I think it was like 1.5 kilograms. If you also took into consideration all the ones left behind at the farm, that probably would have dragged it down by quite a bit. And I think the biggest thing this cycle was managing the temperature. It was all over the place. During brooding, I think it was just way too hot. We ran the heaters, I think, straight for like 2-3 days, and it just would have been way too hot in there. And then we struggled to maintain a balanced temperature because the nighttime temperature would drop to low 20s, middays like mid 30s, and trying to even that out at where you want the internal environment to be was quite challenging. And I don't think we were agile enough in getting that done. So that was a major issue that we tried to resolve for the next cycle, which we'll go over in another video. But there it is. An exciting first cycle here. We learned a lot. We got out of here unscathed. Nothing too major happened. No huge issues. So we take our lessons and we move on to the next one. Good work for the harvesters. It's been 11:40. We started at 4:30. So we've been going for a good chunk of hours here, and we're just wrapping up. So there it is. There is the very first cycle in its totality, from the delivery of the chicks to the harvesting of the 30-day-old chickens and everything in between. A lot of interesting stuff happened, a lot of lessons learned. But if you made it this far, like and subscribe. We got a lot of interesting stuff coming. The construction of our new farm should be done here in 1 month max here, 1 month max. All the equipment's installed. It's really just the finishing touches being put on. We have some interesting trips coming up. We're going to Indonesia to see some poultry farms, layer farms, feed mills in a few weeks here. So we should have a lot of good coverage for you guys. Follow to see more. Until then, we'll see you in the next one.